Welcome to this classic edition of the Northeast Texas Game of the Week, featuring football, baseball, and basketball games of the high schools of Lamar County. We are digging back into our library spanning over 3 decades of high school sports to bring you some of the most exciting games of the past. We will be right back with this week's game.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
He makes me lie down in green pastures.
He leads me beside still water.
He restores my soul.
He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,
I will fear no evil, for you are with me.
Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Hello everybody and welcome to R.L. Maddox Stadium, site of tonight's Northeast Texas Game of the Week between the North Lamar Panthers and the Paris Wildcats. I'm Greg Cunningham, joined with Joe Eigelhart, and Joe, there's nothing like a good crosstown rivalry to start district competition.
Well, Greg, when it comes to rivalries, there's not one in high school football much better than Paris and North Lamar. It's for county and city bragging rights both, and it's historically been a big grudge match, a one-sided grudge match, but nevertheless, it's a big grudge match between the two schools. These kids play baseball with each other. They play basketball. They hang around each other all the time, and most of the flack that you hear, I think the rivalry is probably fueled by parents more than it is kids, because the kids get along just fine and everything. But it's a good rivalry, and we like to try to keep it healthy at all times and hope we have a good game tonight.
You see the Paris Wildcats coming onto the field. Joe, let's talk about North Lamar for a moment. North Lamar comes into tonight's game with a 1-4 record, and if there's one thing that has marked their season, it's been offense lack of productivity.
Well, the North Lamar offense over the last 3 games has really struggled. They've got 1 touchdown offensively in their last 3 games, that being about a 20-yard drive, if I remember correctly. They've scored a couple of times off special teams, but their offense has struggled. And I know Coach Felty has worked very hard to get some consistency in that. The North Lamar defense, however, has played very well. They're the ones that have kept them in games, and they're going to have to be called on tonight to do a good job against this Paris Wildcat team.
And you talk about the North Lamar offense. They had their starting quarterback out for a few weeks, and Scott Moffitt, he's back in uniform this week to face the Wildcats. But they've also got some holes in some special teams positions.
Yes, they have. Kicker Doyle Scott will miss the game tonight. There's been a death in his family, and I'm sure the Scott family would covet your prayers during this time of bereavement. Their punter, Michael Dupree, has left the team, and that's going to be a huge blow to them. Michael's done a good job all year punting the ball for the Panthers, and Michael's also the leading tackler on their defense, playing in the secondary. Michael's done a good job, and they're going to miss that tonight. So North Lamar does have some holes to fill tonight.
Joe, when you talk about the Paris Wildcats, they come into tonight's game with a 3-2 record, and you can't help but start talking about Paris by talking about number 22.
Deion Hill is something special. There's no doubt about that. He has had a tremendous year so far, and he's had tremendous last 2 games against the North Lamar Panthers, running for over 400 yards in those 2 games. And so I'm sure the Wildcats are expecting good things from Deion tonight. And the Panthers probably still having dreams about Deion running against them in the past. But the defense for North Lamar has played very well this year, and they're going to be hopefully prepared to try to give Deion a hard time tonight.
In as much attention as Deion gets, the passing game for the Wildcats has been pretty effective too, with Chris Smith or Earl Robinson and their favorite receiver, T.J. Williams.
Well, the Wildcat offense has played very well this year. They've got a more diversified offense this year. They're throwing the ball. Chris is throwing the ball very well this year to T.J. And so they've got a much more diversified offense. You cannot just simply try to concentrate on Deion and shut him down, because Chris will hurt you through the air. One of the things that would really concern me if I were a Paris Wildcat fan is possibly overconfidence. They've scored an awful lot of points this year, but quite frankly, in my opinion, they scored a lot of points against some very weak teams. And there's not any more weak teams on the schedule. And you got to strap it on a little tighter now that district's started. All the games from now on will be tough, and North Lamar is going to present a big challenge for the Wildcats tonight.
Well, your point is one that Coach Rainey made in the paper today about Paris' schedule. He says, there's no more Brownsboroughs or W.T. Watts in our schedule.
No, there's not. And same thing for North Lamar. There's not any more Mount Vernons or Lennon Kildares either. District is a whole step up, and it's going to be a whole lot tougher from this point on. And we'll find out who's better prepared for it here in just a few minutes.
And there's some tough competition in district with Greenville now in District 15 4A, along with Mount Pleasant, Sulphur Springs.
It'll be a battle. There's no doubt about it. One of the things that you're going to, both of these teams will see that they haven't seen as much of in their pre-district schedule is speed. Speed will be much more of a factor in these district games.
Denmon Tyson, number 22, in the middle of the backfield to receive this kickoff from John Fitzgerald. And we're underway at R.L. Maddox. Tyson takes it at about the 10.
Ball is loose, Greg. North Lamar fell on it.
Number 14, Larry Goodman, falls on the ball.
Big break for the Panthers, getting back possession of that fumble. Chris Smith leads the Wildcat defense out. The Panther offense has not taken the field yet.
Now here they come, led by their senior quarterback, Scott Moffitt. He's number 8. And he gets the ball snapped quickly.
Lewis Tyson.
That's Demon's brother, as I understand.
It's a good first down game for the Panthers.
7 yards. Brings up second down 3. Tyson again has the first down. Gets across the 40-yard line.
Of course, Greg, every time North Lamar is able to run a play like that, gives that offense some confidence, which is what they really need.
Lewis Tyson.
Another big
again
hole.
With good yardage.
Gain of about 4.
Joe, early for North Lamar, we're seeing a 3-back set, something that we hadn't seen in the other North Lamar games that we've done. Tyson again. First down again.
Greg, right now the North Lamar Panthers are winning the battle of the line of scrimmage. Greg, we've got a good crowd here tonight. Both bands and drill teams are on the field in the north end zone in folding chairs to allow for the capacity crowd here at R.L. Maddox Stadium.
Tyson. Chris Smith finally meets him. But another good gain for Tyson.
Another gain of 5 or 6 yards. Nothing North Lamar would like better than to be faced with 2nd and 6 all night long, 2nd and 4 rather, all night long.
Tyson.
Michael Hayes makes the tackle for the Wildcats. Chris Smith checks out. Thomas Battle checks in.
Tyson. Jeff Easton
Believe he's
and
got
Tim
the first
Jones
down.
make the tackle, but not apparently before the first down. From our vantage point, Joe, it appears that he has it.
Well, Greg, this is the 3rd time we've seen the Panthers play this year, and so far this is the best we've seen them move the ball all year.
First down, Panthers. Ball on the Paris 38-yard line. Full house in the backfield. Tyson takes the ball. Hits his blocker, Andy Fuller, and bounces off him, picks up another yard or 2.
Well, North Lamar's not doing anything fancy. They're just lining up and coming right at Paris, and it's working. 2nd down and 5.
Tyson brought down by the ankles by number 41, Dalen Bunch.
Trailing the play, makes the tackle for the Wildcats. Greg, Panthers are able to go down and score on this opening drive. This place is going to go nuts. And Panthers are really going to be fired up. This is exactly what the Panthers needed to do to start the game.
3rd down, 4. Tyson again. Go to the left this time. Number 44 and number 12, Andreas Dixon and Earl Robinson put the stop on Mr. Tyson.
Well, let's see what Coach Felty pulls out of his bag of tricks here. I'm sure they'd love to see the Wildcats jump off sides.
Moffitt throws complete.
Oh my goodness. Thomas Battle saves a touchdown. This John Denmon was wide open down the middle. Nice play fake by Moffitt that time. Be 1st and goal from about the 1-yard line for the Panthers.
Gutsy play on 4th down. Tyson stood up in the backfield.
Josh Embry. It's like a brick wall there.
North Lamar faithful are on their feet after that 4th down completion. They want to see a score here. Ball on the 2, 2nd and goal. Moffitt rolls out to throw and is complete for a touchdown. No,
he
it's dropped.
drops it. Matt Wolf dropped the ball.
Had it in the basket and let it go.
Moffitt hit him right in the numbers. Matt goes back and tells Moffitt, points his chest and says, "It's my fault, buddy. You laid it right in there."
That may have been a case of being too wide open.
Brings back memories of Jackie Smith in the Super Bowl for the Cowboys.
3rd and goal. Moffitt again throws off balance but complete.
Catch is made by John Denmon. Moffitt threw it in a crowd and John Denmon went up to get it for the Panthers. And Greg, hats off to the North Lamar Panthers. That is by far the best drive that we've seen them make all year. Well, our old buddy John Denmon, happy for him.
Yes, sir. Extra point, no good by number 24, Dustin Bone.
Dustin Boone, and in his defense, it was a bad snap. Greg, that is exactly what the Panthers needed. They've got momentum now. They're believing themselves.
There's a replay of the touchdown. Moffitt was hit as he threw. But John Denmon right there in the end zone. 6 points for North Lamar.
Well, Greg, as much as the North Lamar offense has struggled, they've come out and done their job, and I'm sure that defense is going to be really fired up now to go after the Wildcats.
Joe, recap of that drive from our statisticians, Ricky Mackey and Dale Roughton. 14 plays covering 73 yards, taking 5 minutes, 23 seconds to complete. 2-yard pass to Moffitt, or from Moffitt to Denmon.
Very impressive drive.
And don't forget that 4th down play from Moffitt to Denmon for 31 yards.
They ate up a lot of clock that time, too. Coach Felty has got to be very pleased.
Short kick. Taken by Dontrell
Jackson. Dion Hill leads the Paris offense onto the field.
Dion with 826 yards on 78 carries in the 98 season. Dion is now 4th all-time in Paris Wildcat rushing history and hopes to break the record before this season is over. He's number 22, and he's in the backfield. Pitch goes to the fullback.
This is Dalen Bunch.
Dalen has the 1st down.
Well, that's a danger you can have keying on Dion so much. Paris has so many weapons. See Dalen Bunch starting at fullback instead of Thomas Battle. I'm sure Thomas is probably in the doghouse a little bit after getting ejected over in both of the last 2 games. He did play some defense on the first series, but we expect to see Thomas play here in this game.
Ball on the 35 for the Wildcats. Chris Smith is the starting quarterback. Pitch to Dion. Dion's going to be wrapped up in the backfield.
Good pursuit by the Panthers.
Tony Thompson held up Dion just long enough to get some help from Reggie Robertson. Eight-yard loss for the Wildcats, brings up second down 18. Dalen Bunch still on his feet. Takes 3 men with him and gets positive yardage.
Wildcats are faced with 3rd and long.
Number 1, TJ Williams, the tight end, is the Wildcat leading receiver. 14 catches for 371 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Look for
and Chris
TJ
Smith
Williams.
rolls out, goes long. TJ is in the area, but it's incomplete. Batted down by good pursuit.
Triple coverage by the Panthers that time.
Emmanuel Savage. No, I'm sorry. Lee Gilliam. And Denmon Tyson on the coverage. And the Wildcats will be forced to punt. Ball hits the 40, rolls out of bounds at the North Lamar 32-yard line, where the Panthers will start their second series of the ball game. 4:28 left to play in the first quarter.
Well, Greg, the Panther defense did their job. Offense has got to have that much more enthusiasm now.
Joe, you have to wonder early, and we talked about it in the pregame, if Paris may have come into this game a little overconfident.
Well, you know, that was the talk all over town, you know, that, you know, Paris had scored 50 and 60 and 50 and 80 points and stuff.
Tyson, good yardage up the middle, gets the ball to about the 39-yard line.
Greg, Wildcats ran the defense that time with 10 men on the field. And here comes one going off, and here comes 2 on. So Wildcats got lucky that time, lining up with 10 men on the field.
But another 2nd and 4.
It's a whole lot easier to make 6 yards with 10 men on the field than there is 11.
Tyson tripped up into the backfield by Tim Jones. Tim got him around the ankles and kept Tyson from getting quite a bit more on that play.
Greg, the Wildcat defense needs to make a hold here. They have no momentum whatsoever.
Tyson stopped in the backfield. Number 68 and number 83. Kirtley and Council, and punting time for the Panthers. High snap. They're going to get a flag on Cody Edelhauser.
Well,
bumped.
Well, hey, Cody did a good job acting that time because, first of all, I don't know how they kept from blocking the kick. Hearn got in there in a hurry, and if he did anything, he probably overran the kick. But he didn't touch him much at all.
Penalty should be the 5-yard variety, but will still be
That'll
enough
for a first down.
Joe, I think we have a replay
I'm not sure. Let me see. This may not. I don't think this is going to be running in the kicker. This may be offsides. First down for the Panthers.
Now you see that full house backfield again, and Tyson takes the ball. Jeff Easton makes the tackle.
Getting good penetration.
Joe would like to take a moment to mention the sponsors for tonight's FBC-TV game of the week. They include First Baptist Church, Lamar County Cellular, Computer Supercenter, Bill Kennedy Fine Furniture, and AAA Rentals. Ricky Mackey tells me, Joe, that this is already Tyson's 15th carry of the ball game.
46 yards. Moffitt rolling out.
Quantas Jenkins complete. First down.
Nice job by the North Lamar coaching staff.
Talking about Tyson just now, Dale Roughton tells me that it has already has 46 yards. Is that right? 46 yards. Panthers in Wildcat territory for the second time in this ball game. Tyson.
Number 4, Lewis Tyson picks up about 3 down to the 43-yard line.
Darius Hearn
Number 52, Michael Hayes.
there on him, along with Michael Hayes. Just over a minute left to play in the first quarter, and it's been all North Lamar.
It has.
Second down 8. Quantas Jenkins breaks free. Still on his feet. Finally dragged down by Earl Robinson.
Well, Greg, I tell you right now, I honestly believe that the Paris Wildcats have come in here thinking we've got the big-time offense. We've been beating up on people.
Time for a little cakewalk.
Yes, I think you're right. And the North Lamar Panthers are giving them a big dose of humble pie right now. Right now, it's just a simple case of who wants it more, and the Panthers want it more right now.
Quantas Jenkins. Another good hard run. After those 16 carries by Tyson, Quantas Jenkins comes in with fresh legs, and
clock is down to 9 seconds left in the first quarter. And the Wildcats will take a welcome break here. They need a timeout.
That's the end of the first quarter. North Lamar has the lead 6-0, and they're threatening for more. We'll be back in a moment.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
I think it goes around.
Let's go. We gotta get you in practice.
And it's set.
We're back at R.L. Maddox Stadium, start of the second quarter. We just missed a Quantas-Jenkins carry for a first down on the 10-yard line. A 2-yard carry.
Well, Paris coaching staff needs to tell these boys that there's a war going on out there.
A lot of excited people on the home side of R.L. Maddox and a lot of stunned people on the visiting side.
The Panthers are not impressed with what the Wildcats have done in pre-district.
Quantas-Jenkins again. Joe, he's impressive as far as getting that second and third effort and continuing to move his feet.
Well, he's doing a good job, Greg, but that North Lamar offensive line is just whipping the Paris defensive line right now.
Panthers need the 1-yard line for a first down. They're 2nd and 4 now. Tyson met in the backfield by number 75 of the Wildcats, Ramon Booker.
They can get a first down, Greg. Denmon has checked out.
And remember, their regular kicker is not in the ball game.
Same play.
Touchdown.
Andy Fuller this time.
Brandon Dennison. Panthers will go for 2, it appears, which is what you would expect being up by 12. But another impressive drive by the Panthers.
Paris was not ready, didn't look like.
Moffitt throws, and it's incomplete.
Bo Morrow makes the interception.
Lead stays at 12.
Well, Greg, if you thought North Lamar was fired up after the first score, they are on fire right now. This place is going crazy. They smell blood.
And the visiting side is just in a state of shock right now. Dale Roughton tabulating the stats on the second drive. 13 plays, covering 68 yards. Ran nearly 6 minutes. Sorry, over 6 minutes, 6:14. And the Panther fans are making some noise in R.L. Maddox. Another short kick.
Ball is loose. Thomas Battle comes out with it.
Finally shoved out of bounds. North Lamar has a player down, Cody Edelhauser. At the 40-yard line.
Thomas Battle just happened to be in the right place at the right time and got a good bounce and took off with it with a full head of steam.
Joe, that would be a good play to have a replay on. We know Cody earlier this season has had some injury problems. We hope it's nothing serious, that he can be able to come back.
Greg, from the way Cody's coming off that field, he's kind of looks very groggy. Let's see if we can see what happened to Cody. Nothing on there that would show what happened to him. Thomas Battle is in the game at fullback for the Wildcats.
Ball on the Panther 41. Drop play to Dion Hill. Good yardage that time. Number 9, Reggie Robertson makes the tackle, but not before a good gain.
Reggie has played so well for the Panthers this year. Dion is saying, give me the ball.
8 yards for Dion on that carry.
I'll carry you.
Thomas Battle on the ground, but picks it back up.
Thomas must have gone prayer meeting before he came tonight, because he's gotten a couple of good bounces. He's living right. Greg, the Wildcats need a score on this possession to try to take some of this momentum away from the Panthers.
They have a first down on the North Lamar 25-yard line. Battle up the middle. Good yardage across the 20. Gets near to the 18.
Greg, looks like North Lamar is really doing their best to shut everything down outside, and that's leaving the middle open for the Wildcats, both for Thomas Battle and Dion Hill. And don't forget, Chris Smith is a very dangerous runner in that backfield.
Second down 3 for the Wildcats. Down by 12. And it's Dion to the left side. Dances around a little bit, gets to about the 15 before he's brought down.
Number 22, Dion Hill, on the game to the 12-yard line, tackled by number 5, Andy Fuller. He'll be a first
It was good enough for a first down.
Quantus Jenkins. Here's Dion. Scat.
Nowhere.
Well, Thomas Battle missed his block that time, and the key to that play working is that fullback making his block, and Thomas missed it that time. And when he doesn't get it, it's a doomed play.
There's a loss in the play back to the 17-yard line. Brings up a second down at 15.
Dion has 4 carries for -1 yard. Certainly less than his 10-yard carry average coming into tonight's game. Chris Smith rolls out, overthrows his intended receiver. He had a beat on Thomas Battle, but overthrows him.
Well, Greg, as surprising as the yardage is for Dion, I think as much as surprising as anything is the number of carries With 7:29 left in the first half, you would think Dion would have had more than 4 carries. But the Paris offense has not been on the field much. Kevin Morrow checks in.
T.J. Williams, number 1 in the ball game.
Paris
Wildcat leading receiver.
Wildcats can get a first down.
They need the 2-yard line for first. 3rd down and 15.
Naked bootleg for Chris Smith.
Not going to make it. Gets about the 10-yard line. But that brings up 4th down.
John Denmon did a good job that time of stringing that play out, forcing Chris inside.
4th and 7. And the Wildcats take timeout. That'll give us a chance, Joe, to mention the sponsors for tonight's FBC-TV game of the week. They include First Baptist Church, Lamar County Cellular, Computer Supercenter, Bill Kennedy Fine Furniture, and AAA Rentals. 6:53 left to play in the half. Stay with us during halftime as we will bring you the performance of both bands, both North Lamar and Paris.
Greg, what might we see from the Wildcats here? Needing a trick play or something, you could possibly see Earl Robinson check in at quarterback and have Chris Smith in a pattern.
Seen that play before.
Sure we're not telling Coach Felty anything he doesn't already know.
No, no.
Looks like the Wildcats are going to go for it.
Well, Joe, as you said at the beginning of this drive, the Wildcats need a score.
Yes, they do.
To try to get any kind of momentum before halftime.
I'd like to see something where Chris Smith carries the ball.
North Lamar faithful making some noise.
TJ is double teamed out wide right.
Incomplete.
Tyrone Fulbright. No, excuse me, Brandon Dennison. Makes the play for the North Lamar Panthers. So the Panther defense has dodged their first bullet of the night.
Ball on the 10-yard line now. And Tyson takes the ball on first down. More good yardage for that young man.
Greg, the intensity on the North Lamar side of the ball is much higher right now than it is on the Paris side.
Joe, another 2nd down and 4 situation for the Panthers. Josh Embry brings Tyson down on that 2nd down play. John, I don't remember who it was earlier in the season where we saw North Lamar here that the opponent's offense was getting 2nd down and 5, 2nd down and 4.
Pleasant Grove gang.
Yeah. But now you're seeing the North Lamar offense doing it to an opponent.
Paris needs to cover the tight end here.
Tyson with a blocker in front.
He's going to be close.
Doesn't have the first down.
That's just about where he needed to be. Okay, looks like they're going to be short. North Lamar will need to punt here.
Only Barry Switzer would go for it this deep in his own territory. Cody Edelhauser back in the game will punt.
Paris has 12 men on the field. Greg, we've seen that before from the Wildcats where they've had trouble finding out, knowing who's supposed to be in the ball game on their special teams. A lot of confusion on the Wildcat special team coming from the sidelines. Greg, that's a costly timeout too, with the Wildcats needing to score here.
Joe, Lewis Tyson already with 21 carries, 65 yards.
Of course, Lewis and Dion are related to each other. They're cousins, and they've got a little grudge match going here. And Mr. Tyson is teaching his cousin Dion how to do it tonight.
Well, Dion's been getting all the press, and if Lewis continues at this pace tonight, he's going to have a lot of the press in Sunday's paper.
Well, Greg, now the Wildcats.
Wildcats don't have a man.
They're not going to snap the ball here. They're trying to draw Paris off sides.
North Lamar takes a timeout to avoid the 5-yard penalty.
I don't know what that accomplished. We're going to punt again.
Paris has 1 timeout left. North Lamar has 2. Thomas Battle and JT Tyson back deep to receive the punt. Thomas has it bounce off his shoulder pads, and the North Lamar Panthers recover.
Greg, I tell you, everything is going the North Lamar Panthers' way. Everything that needs to happen for a big upset is happening.
See Earl Robinson down there with his hands on his hips in disgust or disbelief or whatever you can imagine him to be thinking right now.
Greg, Paris coaching staff is really going to have their hands full at halftime. They've got to convince this team that there's a football game going on out here and they don't have to just walk on the field to win it. They've got to earn it.
And Joe, when you talk about the district, this may be the easiest game for either team.
Could very easily be.
Paris 11-1 all time in this series, but an upset in the making.
That doesn't mean anything right now, Greg.
Not at all. Tim Jones and
Tim Jones.
Dalen Bunch find Mr. Tyson in the backfield this time.
Well, now, Greg, the thing that the Wildcats have to concentrate on instead of trying to score, they've got to keep North Lamar from scoring. North Lamar is able to get a touchdown in this here before the half, in the mental state that the Wildcats are in, it's going to be very tough for them to come back and win this game in the second half. I'm not saying they can't do it, but they are in some kind of funk right now.
Tyson wrapped up in a sea of white, led by Tim Jones, number 62. Jeff Easton also there with him. Moffitt will throw, or maybe not. What was that?
We've got a flag down, Greg.
68, Robert Kirtley.
He had him and let him go. And a lot of that, you know, that'll tell you something about your mental frame of mind right there. I believe this is probably, I thought I saw North Lamar move. It is an illegal procedure penalty. Paris needs to decline that and try to get the ball back for the half. Defense sign.
Third and 16 for North Lamar. Moffitt back to throw.
Well, once
incomplete.
again, Greg,
Andy Fuller, the
tight
intended
end
receiver.
Andy Fuller is wide open down the middle of the field. Moffitt is just unable to hook up with him this time, but the Wildcat defense has done a very poor job of covering the tight end.
Joe, on that third down play, could Kirtley have pulled up thinking that it was a dead ball foul?
Well, if he is, he's not thinking right. He better go 90 miles an hour until somebody tells him not to.
Punt is
Kevin Morrow blocks the punt. That may be the kind of spark that the Wildcats need. Kevin Morrow, sophomore, good speed. Number 34 comes in and blocks the punt for the Wildcats. That could be a momentum changer. They need to capitalize. There's Miss Kimberly Ledbetter, one of the youth at First Baptist Church. We'd like to say hi to her and say hi to her dad, who is recuperating in the hospital. Best wishes to you, Kim.
Thomas Battle goes around the left end. Picks up about 5.
Thomas Battle needs to be careful. I'm sure North Lamar is aware that he's been thrown out of the last 2 games, and I'm sure he's getting talked to every time he's in a pile like that.
Battle again. Fights his way forward close to a first down. He may be just a half a yard short.
Clock is running.
2:10 left to play in the half. Third and a short one. Battle. First down.
Clock will stop as the chains move with 1:55 left in the first half.
Clock running, 1:50 left.
Ball is marked on the 17-yard line.
Smith rolls out, will keep the ball. Has the corner, and it gets pushed out of bounds at about the 2.5-yard.
Chris has
line.
a first down, and he stops the clock. Getting out of bounds also. Nice job by Chris Smith that time.
Andy Fuller in the area to knock him out of bounds.
Well, Greg, we've talked all night about what North Lamar is feeling with their momentum. If the Wildcats can get the ball in the end zone here and convert on their conversion, they've got to feel pretty good about their chances in the second half.
First and goal on the 4. Battle stood up at about the 3, falls over to about the 2. It'll depend on the spot.
Number 33, Chase Allen. A gain of 1. Line of scrimmage is the 3-yard line. Second down and goal from the 3.
And Joe, you don't see a lot of Dion Hill on this drive, though he's in the backfield.
See if they run scat here, Greg. Cut back. Dion is in the end zone, I believe.
Touchdown.
Yes.
First points of the game for the Paris Wildcats. With 52 seconds left in the half. The Wildcats narrow the lead.
One of the things Coach felt he's going to be thinking about in the locker room probably is wishing he had those 2 conversions.
John Fitzgerald will attempt this extra point with a hold of Earl Robinson, and it's good. Brings our score now to 12-7 North Lamar. And Joe, I believe we'll have a replay available on the touchdown by Dion Hill. Starts to the left, but cuts it back inside.
Well, you know,
good job by the offensive line.
Just because Dion's small and runs well and everything, he doesn't run well up the middle. Dion can run up amongst the big boys.
Drive summary for the Wildcats. 7 plays covering 30 yards. Took 2 minutes, 21 seconds to complete. Dion Hill with a 3-yard touchdown run. John Fitzgerald with a point after. Drive started due to a blocked punt that Paris recovered.
By Kevin Morrow. Kevin has played very well since being called up from the JV.
And that point after.
Paris is offsides.
That point after for Paris is important too, Joe.
Yes, it is.
Touchdown would get a lead for Paris. Paris down by 5.
Paris is offsides on the kickoff, I know that. I believe North Lamar should be content to take the ball right there, and they are. Now, Greg, if I were the Panthers, I'd go ahead and run the clock out. They've had a good first half, and you try to do something fancy and have a disaster blow up in your face.
2 real nice scoring drives for North Lamar.
Wildcats had a safety back 20 yards deep that time.
Larry Goodman on that carry. Lewis Tyson with the bulk of the load this half. Second down 4. Larry Goodman on that carry again.
Down to 10 seconds.
Dale Roughton and Ricky Mackey have a unusual stat here as the clock runs out. North Lamar 92 yards rushing, 48 yards passing for 140 yards total offense. Paris 69 yards total offense in this half, no yards passing. And that's the end of the first half with North Lamar up on Paris 12-7. Stay tuned for halftime.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
presents their award-winning drill team, the Blazettes. Under the direction of Kenny Cox, the Blazettes attended Universal Dance Association camp at Oklahoma State University this summer. At camp, they qualified to compete at the National Dance Team competition in January at Disney World. They brought home 2 superior trophies, one for their home routine and one for their overall camp performance. They received the Leadership Award, voted on by all teams, and they won the Spirit Stick each day. Patrice Preston was the drill team champion, and collectively the team brought home 53 blue ribbons, 25 red ribbons, and 3 white ribbons. They will be competing at Six Flags next Saturday in a Showtime International contest, and we wish them luck at that competition. The social sweetheart, Miss Brittany Ivy, and Miss Erin Archer choose the Dancer of the Week and Miss Congeniality. This week, they have chosen Elizabeth Gorey for Dancer of the Week and Silky Bills for Miss Congeniality. Congratulations, ladies. The Blazettes are led onto the field by their lieutenants, Miss Nicole Burris, Miss Ashley Ebaugh, Miss Brooke Reed, and their captain, Miss Andrea Ritchie. Tonight, the Blazettes will perform a kick routine to turn the beat around, accompanied by the Verify Blue Blazers Band. now, ladies and gentlemen, for your halftime entertainment, please welcome the pride of Paris, the 1998 Paris High School Blue Blazers Marching Band. Under the field direction of Drum Major Danny McConan and Assistant Drum Majors Kim Ledbetter and Katie Williams. Tonight, return with us to the 70s with highlights from that great rock band, Chicago.
gave that away?
What's that? I haven't been there. Yeah. I got to go see that, dog. I didn't even know he was in there. It may be too much trouble to go see him, though. Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome your award-winning North Lamar Panther Band and Blue Diamond Sunshine. Congratulations to President of the League, Josh Cato, Stephen Carroll, and Chancey Armstrong. Desmond Member of the Week is Jennifer Fugit. Section of the Week is the trombone. Performing in the 1998 contest show, the Panther Band will present selections from the ever-popular musical of Broadway and movie legend Fiddler on the Roof. The opening collection tradition features a trumpet solo by sophomore Jordan Ricks and a baritone solo by senior Karen Yon. That will be followed by Two Lots, featuring a trumpet solo by senior Adam Jones. The final selection of the evening will feature a clarinet solo by Melissa Grant as the band performs the bottle dance. Drum majors, Jella Moon, Elena Logie, and Shane Kelly. Is the band ready? And now, here they are, the North Lamar Panther Band! Ladies and gentlemen, the North Lamar Mobile Band. The band is directed by Randy Jones, Rhonda Morris, Byron Knight, and Jamie Roseby. Stand-by instructor, Judy Gifford.
My son has been drinking, and I think he's using drugs.
I just feel so ugly. I don't want anybody to see me.
I'm so sad all the time. I can barely get out of bed.
I just needed to talk to someone because I miss him so much.
Stand strong. No matter what you're going through, there is hope at the end of the line.
Focus on the family. How can we help?
Welcome back to R.L. Maddox Stadium, where we're about to start the second half of this Lamar County rivalry. Paris High, North Lamar. North Lamar with a 12-7 lead over the Wildcats. And Joe, you have some first half statistics compiled for us.
Yeah, Greg, one of the most telling stats that we've got, Dion Hill, 5 carries for only 2 yards. Thomas Battle has 6 carries for 30 yards. Dalen Bunch, 2 carries for 16 yards. And Chris Smith, the quarterback, has 2 carries for 20 yards. Passing, Chris Smith is 0 for 3. Rushing, Paris has 17 carries, only 68 yards. They have 1 fumble lost. Passing, 0 for 3. Total offense with Paris Wildcats, 68. 5 first downs. They've punted 1 time for 36 yards. They have 1 penalty for 5 yards, 1 turnover. Time of possession is 8 minutes and 21 seconds. Key play of the first half of the Paris Wildcats was a blocked punt by Bo Morrow. Dion Hill carried the ball in for a 3-yard touchdown. Paris, as we have a note here, is very lucky to only be down by 5 points at this point in the game. For the North Lamar Panthers, workhorse Lewis Tyson, 23 carries, 63 yards. Quantus Jenkins has 3 carries for 25 yards. Goodman has 2 carries for 6 yards. Moffitt passing is 4 out of 6 for minus 48 yards. Is that correct? Or 48 yards. 4 out of 6 for 48 yards. North Lamar's rushed the ball 28 times for 92 yards. Total offense 140 yards. 8 first downs, 2 punts that averaged 20 yards. Keep in mind, North Lamar's regular punter is not here tonight. 1 penalty for 5 yards. Been a relatively penalty-free game. Time of possession, a whopping 15 minutes and 39 seconds for the North Lamar Panthers. Key drives, Panthers first 2 times they had the ball, had long sustaining touchdown drives, which really swung the momentum in their favor. Their defense has played well.
Ran it down the Wildcats' throat the first drive, then answered with another drive of
yes, they did.
Similar impression.
They certainly did.
But Lewis Tyson, 23 carries already in this game.
Well, he's got a lot of carries, but Greg, one of the things I think the Paris Wildcats have got to do, they've got to come out with a heavy dose of Dion Hill here in the second half. They have got to run the football. Dion has got to get on the field and pick this team up on his shoulders and carry this team if they're going to have a chance to win this game. Coach Rainey, I'm sure, had a job of convincing this team at the halftime that this is not Brownsboro, this is not W.T. White, this is not Gilmer, this is district game, and there are no easy games in this district. Don't be deceived by North Lamar's 1-4 record. They have played very well in those 4 games. Their offense did struggle. Their offense has played well tonight, but I think more than anything right at this point, North Lamar wants the game worse than the Paris Wildcats. It's hard to believe that in a game like this you could come out flat. I've seen the times before. You got a big game coming up in Dallas tomorrow between Texas and OU. I've seen Texas come out flat before, and you just scratch your head and say, how on earth can you come out flat in a big game like this? And the Paris Wildcats are obviously flat, and the North Lamar Panthers are making them pay for it.
Scott Moffitt and Dion Hill down on the field to decide the goals for the second half.
Paris will receive the opening second half kickoff.
North Lamar without their regular kicker and their regular punter.
I see Doyle Scott on the sidelines. I talked to him at halftime. Greg, he is here. He just missed too much practice this week from a death in the family and is unable to play. He was not complaining at halftime. He said, as long as we win, I'm happy.
Dustin Bone kicks it away.
North Lamar is offsides on the kickoff, Greg.
Thomas Battle takes the opening kickoff.
Paris will have the ball on about the 35-yard line. I believe if I'm Paris, I'd decline this penalty. And as I said, I believe the Paris Wildcats need a heavy dose of Dion Hill here in the second half, and I'm sure Tommy Felty is telling the North Lamar Panthers that's what you're going to get.
Wildcats start off on their own 34-yard line to start the second half. Dion Hill goes around right end. Gets about 3, maybe 4 yards there.
Greg, when the Paris offense is working, they will snap the ball at about a 3, 4, 5 yards a clip every time. And then every so often, they're going to pop a big one on you. They have not done that tonight.
Dion credited with 5 yards on that carry, brings up 2nd and 5. Thomas Battle has the first down. Stood up by Lee Gillian just short of the first down, but keeps the momentum going and gets across that first down marker.
Well, I'm sure Coach Rainey went in that locker room and asked these guys, do you think you're better than North Lamar? And if you are, you've got to go out and prove it in the second half, because nobody's convinced after the first half.
First and down, Paris on the 46-yard line. Dion Hill up the middle. About 3 or 4.
They're going to mark the ball just shy of the 50-yard line where Dion's knee went down.
Chase Allen on the tackle.
John Denmon is coming off very slowly for the Panthers.
John's had a big game. You hope he'll be able to come back.
Let's hope our buddy John's not hurt seriously here.
Thomas Battle breaks tackles.
He will have a first down.
Finally brought down by Cody Edelhauser. Andy Fuller also in the area.
Coach Rainey's got to be hoping that the Wildcats can just drive the ball down the field on this opening possession.
Guys in the striped shirts want a measurement to make sure. And it is a first down. Andy Fuller moved a little bit. Got back maybe. Dion spun a lot.
Andy Fuller must have taken ballet lessons at one time or another, because he stopped and did a pirouette and came back without touching somebody. He did a good job that time. Still don't know how he kept from touching somebody. Andy will talk to me about that little comment next time he sees me, I'm sure.
I don't know how many times Dion spun on that carry. Breaking tackles, trying to get a couple yards. Thomas Battle.
Ball is loose. Wildcats make the recovery.
Thomas has had a little trouble with the handle in tonight's game.
Greg, speaking of Andy Fuller, I'd like to take this opportunity to say hi to Andy's uncle, Pat Kimball, who is in town, longtime friend of ours. Pat and his wife, Lori, are expecting triplets, we understand.
He'll be a busy man. It's 3rd and 6.
Big play
Smith
for the Panther
out.
defense.
He
And
slips.
Chris falls down. It's a huge break for the Panthers. Paris does not convert points with their first drive. That just fires that Panther defense up that much more.
Paris able to move the ball somewhat, but got bogged down when they got past midfield, and they'll have to punt it away.
Fitzgerald.
Tyson
Good
and Tyson.
punt.
Lewis Tyson calls for the fair catch.
Nice punt by Fitzgerald.
Five-point game, field position will be important.
Now, one thing the last thing the Panthers need to do is give Paris a turnover here on their own end of the field.
Hand off to Tyson.
We've got a flag thrown by the referee. That usually means a hold. It's a motion penalty. Greg, one of the things that we noticed at halftime, North Lamar has nearly looked like they've been in motion nearly every time they snap the ball. They're coming off the ball so fast, and that's just a sign of a team that's very well prepared and eager to play. But they got called for the illegal motion that time. There have been several times when I thought they were in motion and officials didn't call it, but that's just, they're coming off the ball so quickly, it looks like they're in motion.
Tyson gets near the original line of scrimmage.
This is something that the Wildcats didn't see much of in the first half. North Lamar looking at 2nd down and 10. Panthers were usually looking at 2nd and 4. Wildcat defense needs to make a hold here.
Punting has been a problem for North Lamar tonight.
Let's see if Paris covers the tight end here. Andy Fuller's lined up at the tight end position. Ball is loose.
Tyson winds up with it, only to find a big company of white jerseys surrounding him.
Nearly every passing play the Panthers have run, they've looked for the tight end over the middle, and they're in I say they're in a passing situation. They may not want to risk it here.
3rd and 11 on the 10-yard line.
Derek Crawford checks in for the Panthers.
Moffitt wants to throw.
Badly underthrows. Brandon Dennison.
Punting unit will come on the field.
Well, Greg, the main thing the Wildcats need to do here, they need to field the punt. They've had difficulty doing that.
JT Tyson and Thomas Battle on the North Lamar 40 to receive this punt by Cody Edelhauser.
Paris has 10 men on the field. Well, Paris got a break there. Then once again, they only had 10 men on the field.
Ball rolls out of bounds on the 22-yard line.
Greg, there's just terrible confusion on Paris special teams as to who's supposed to be in the football game. You see 12 men on the field 1 minute, 2 of them run off, and all of a sudden you see 10. It doesn't look like they know who's supposed to be out there. Great field position for the Wildcats. They need to capitalize on this.
Dion Hill on the draw. Gets to about the 20.
Well,
5:40 left to play in the 3rd quarter.
No matter how bad North Lamar struggled this year on offense, Paris has to have looked at the film and seen that North Lamar's been solid defensively all year long.
They only allowed 16 points a game
Ball
coming
is
into
on the
tonight.
ground.
Chris Smith couldn't find the handle. It appears he fell on it to retain possession.
Greg Paris needs to get a few yards here. Even if they don't get the first down, they would be in an excellent position to make a field goal here. And 3 points would look awful big on the board right now for the Wildcats.
Third and 7. Another draw play to Hill. Hill
Dion
had
has
the first down. Still on his feet. Dragged down by number 44, Mark Davis, and number 33, Chase Allen.
Well, Greg, that's the first time we've seen Dion loose in the secondary, and when he gets loose in that secondary, it's a thing of beauty. He makes things happen.
Well, Joe, you said the Wildcats needed a heavy dose of Dion Hill. So far, that's what we've had. And now the Wildcats knocking on the door. 1st and goal at the 1. Dion. Touchdown. First lead of the game for the Wildcats comes with 4:16 left to play in the 3rd quarter with a point after attempt to come. John Fitzgerald setting up.
Paris needs to go for 2 here, Greg, because 1 point just makes it a 2-point game. Now, how big a factor a 3-point game would be for North Lamar with their kicker on the sidelines in street clothes, I don't know. And Paris calls timeout. Greg, let's talk about the psychology part of the game at this point. Paris has got to be over there right now saying, we have stunk this place up for the biggest part of this game so far, and we're ahead right now. We're in good shape.
Here's a replay on Dion's touchdown.
North Lamar, on the other hand, has got to sit over there and say, we've played well, and we're down for the first time. Greg, I really believe this next possession for North Lamar is going to be very critical. They need to come out and move the ball. If they're unable to move the ball on this next possession and Paris comes down and scores, it's not going to be good for the Panthers.
PA announcer Tommy Eads was giving other district scores just now. I didn't catch the Texas High Greenville score. Rick Mackey's got it for me. 14-7 Greenville over Texas High. 13-7. And Mount Pleasant 14-7 over Sulphur Springs.
Paris will go for two now.
Dion.
He's
2
in.
points. (15-12) Paris over North Lamar. Dale and Rick compiling the stats for us on this drive. Four plays, 24 yards. Took a minute and 40 seconds. Dion with a 1-yard touchdown run. He had 3 carries on that drive for 24 yards, and he also made the 2-point conversion. Dion now with 11 carries, 39 yards. And 2 touchdowns. Fitzgerald kicks away. Bounces to Denmon Tyson. He's got a little running room. Stumbles across the 30-yard line. Much better field position this time for the North Lamar Panthers.
Good field position for the Panthers. Greg, this may be the key drive of the game right here.
North Lamar really needs to answer. Having bogged down deep in their own territory, giving Paris the short field to get the lead. Tyson on first down. Not much.
North Lamar gets a couple. It's very obvious, Greg, that the Wildcat defensive line is doing a much better job in the trenches. They're not being blown off the line of scrimmage like they were in the first half. See John Denmon check out. John's been back in the game. It's glad he's not hurt.
Tyson takes a pretty good lick from Mr. Thomas, battle number 30.
I believe Mr. Tyson's going to have an appointment in the Whirlpool tomorrow. He has really been the workhorse for the Panthers today.
Third and 3 on the North Lamar 41-yard line. Scott Moffitt wants to throw. Has it tight end open over the middle. That's Andy Fuller. And Joe, you've been talking about that play all night.
Well, it's pretty easy pickings when you don't cover the tight end. Also, the Wildcats didn't get any pressure on Moffitt that time.
John Denmon checks into the game for Andy Fuller. .230 left to play in the third quarter. Panthers on the move. Lewis Tyson gets into a big pile up. on about the 45-yard line of Paris.
Well, Greg, that North Lamar offensive line just pushed the Paris offensive line about 5 yards that time.
And as we've mentioned before, Joe, that line is anchored at center by a sophomore,
Michael Pirtle.
Michael Pirtle. His dad taking the year off from the media crew. 28 carries for 80 yards is Tyson, and here he goes again on number 29, short of the first down. He'll have about the 42, 43-yard line.
Greg, I can't remember last time I saw a running back with 29 carries in not even three quarters yet.
Really? Third down 3.
Doyle Scott usually takes some of that burden off of Tyson.
Derek Crawford, number 18, checked into the game.
Third down 3 for the Panthers.
Moffitt eludes tacklers. Yep. Wide open is Crawford. Tackled past the 25-yard line.
Well, the Wildcats had 2 men in the backfield hit Moffitt. He got away from both of them. Just pitiful tackling by the Wildcats, and Moffitt's able to find Crawford open in the middle.
Joe, I want to take a moment to mention the sponsors for tonight's FBC-TV Game of the Week. They include First Baptist Church, Lamar County Cellular, Computer Supercenter, Bill Kennedy Fine Furniture, and AAA Rentals.
Paris has got 10 men on the field, Greg. Josh Embry. Greg, I really don't understand. This is the third or fourth time I've looked up and seen 10 men on the field for the Wildcats, and I just don't understand that.
15 seconds left to play in the third quarter. This should be the last play before fourth quarter begins, if they indeed play at all. They won't, and that's the end of the third quarter. Paris with a lead, but the Panthers driving, and we'll be back.
God has called us to go into the world and to care for the dying, to care for those that are suffering. It's just what we do.
So many houses are collapsed. People are economically weak.
It felt like a freight train, honestly. It really did. You just felt the shaking. You felt the eeriness.
When things like this happen, we have to come together. We have to help each other.
Our marriage was broken. We were at the point of no return.
The pain was just growing stronger, and I felt like I was getting weaker by the day.
It's a dire situation. There is a great need for outside help to fill this gap for medical needs.
I was at my lowest point, feeling unloved, and God brought in shoeboxes and gave me hope.
We run to the fire, we don't run away from it. We're on a rescue mission, and we go in Jesus' name.
Play is underway to start the fourth quarter. Greg Cunningham with Joe Eigelhart. Joe, after Paris got the lead, we said that North Lamar needed to answer, and so far have put together a very impressive drive.
They've got a good drive going. They've got to get points out of it.
3rd and 3 are the Panthers, and Lewis Tyson does not get it.
The first down. No gain. Now, Greg, in this situation, I believe if I was the Paris coach, the first thing I'd be saying is bind the tight end and get on him like glue. Cover the middle. North Lamar will go for it. A field goal will tie. Keep in mind, Doyle Scott is not here.
Tyson, 30 carries 81 yards, and it's 4th and 3. Moffitt will throw. Who's got it? Complete. John Denmon. 1st and goal at the 1.
Well, John Denmon just goes up and out muscles the Wildcats for the ball. As we said, watch the tight end over the middle.
Oral Robinson was a human blanket that time. But Denmon fights for the ball, gets the ball, and North Lamar has 1st and goal. Ball will be spotted on the 3-yard line. Lewis Tyson, number 75 for the Wildcats. His Ramon Booker makes a stop. Don't have his name on our roster. Second and goal. Moffitt takes it himself.
He scores.
Touchdown.
And North Lamar has the lead once again.
Joe Dale and Rick gave me some stats to start the 4th quarter. Through 3 quarters, not counting this touchdown that North Lamar just scored. North Lamar, 35 carries, 116 yards. In passing, 6 for 9 with 77 yards. Paris, 26 carries, 81 yards. And that was their total offense. North Lamar with a total offense of 183. Point after is good.
Dustin Boone.
We've got a replay there of Scott Moffitt, number 8, diving in for the touchdown.
So Greg, take your hat off to North Lamar. That was a critical drive, and they not only did a good job on the drive, they cashed it in for a big 7 points. And Greg, you know, we've been kind of hard on the North Lamar offense because they've struggled the 2 times that we've been out here. But let's be fair. Scott Moffitt was injured and was not in the game in those 2 games, and I made the comment that North Lamar kind of looked like they were afraid to throw the ball. Well, they've got their leader back now, and Moffitt's done a good job of throwing the football, and just having his senior leadership out there is a big plus for this team.
And also, in defense of the North Lamar offense, on their 3rd scoring drive, took 13 plays. Their other 2 scoring drives, 13 and 14 plays. So they've been on the field a long time. That last drive, 13 plays, 66 yards.
Dustin Boone, kickoff for the Panthers.
Good kick. JT Tyson still on his feet, gives the ball to Dion Hill. He's off for the races, cross midfield.
We've got a flag down, a late flag. A very
and a North Lamar player is down.
Flag for a block in the back, I believe. See if we have a replay of that. Legal use of hands. Injured player for North Lamar. It's Denmon Tyson.
Lewis's younger brother. He started a game earlier in the year for Lewis.
I believe he's
he
all right.
He just must have had the wind blocked out of him.
Back to live action.
Dion Hill breaks a tackle, still on his feet, gets to the 40-yard line.
Lee Gilliam makes the tackle
Andy
for
Fuller
the Panthers.
and Lee Gilliam.
Clock is down to 8:58. Paris is 58 yards from a go-ahead touchdown.
8:50 left to play in the game. Thomas Battle. John Denmon. Jack Taylor there on the stop.
Well, take your hat off to John. John has just played a tremendous game for the Panthers tonight. This is his senior year. This is his last Paris game.
Second down, 9. Dion Hill tripped up at the line of scrimmage.
North Lamar loaded up on the right side that time, and Paris ran right into it.
Chase Allen, number 33.
Would have been a good time to check off.
Brings up third down, 9. Clock running, 7:45 left to play. Critical third down for the Wildcats. Charles Campbell and TJ Williams split out to the left side. Chris Smith rolls out to throw. Cuts back to the inside. Pulls the ball back down and knocked out of bounds short.
He's 4 yards short.
First down.
First down. Greg, they spotted the ball 2 yards short of where he went out of bounds. Still very short. Paris needs to punt the ball here, Greg.
Paris needs every bit of 5 yards for a first down.
They need to punt the ball here.
But they're going to go for it, or at least line up and see if they can draw the Panthers off. Dion on the draw play, has outside, has the first down.
Well, that's why I'm up here calling the game, and Coach Rainey's down there on the sideline.
Dion hasn't had the outside like that much tonight. Of course, on fourth down.
Big first down for the Wildcats. Now, ideally, Greg, if the Wildcats can go down to score, they'd love to score with about 2 minutes left.
Dion, 14 carries, 73 yards so far.
This is Battle.
Hand off to Battle. He'll have the first down. He's across the 20 to the 15.
He would have had a whole lot more than that if he hadn't run over his own man. Good run by Thomas Battle. Ramon Booker got in his way that time.
Jeff Easton checks in, number 84.
Dalen Bunch checks back into the game at the fullback position.
He's in the backfield with Dion Hill. And Dion takes the carry.
Cut back.
Back up the middle. Reggie Robertson, Chase Allen there to bring him down.
Second down and 7 for the Wildcats.
6 minutes left. They have the ball on the 12-yard line. Need the 5 for a first down.
Coach Pelty trying to figure out a way to stop the Wildcats here. He has the lead at this point.
Dalen Bunch. Good yardage. Has the first down.
He will have a first down. Dalen looks kind of like Moose.
A lot of similarity there, at least on that carry, except Moose seems like he doesn't get more than about 2 yards on his carries.
Now, Greg, if I'm Paris, I'm kind of hoping that the clock runs here and runs a little bit more time off that clock. Paris has the first down. Ball is spotted on the 6. And the Panthers call timeout to just try to stop the Paris momentum.
Back on their heels.
Of course, I'm sure right now Coach Rainey doesn't care what time is on the clock as long as they get 6 points out of this drive.
Joe, this may be as exciting a game, at least as exciting as the game 2-3 years ago.
Oh, this has been a great
But
game. It really has. I mean, a lot of people, I think, thought they were going to come to a massacre, and they've come to a gunfight.
Who will be the last man standing?
Greg, we talked last year, and nothing ever happened to this, but a great rivalry like this, I'd like to see somebody, maybe a corporate sponsor or something, come up with a trophy or something, call it the Big Soup Can or something like that, and name this game. I know there's the old oaken bucket and stuff. Name this game, and the winner gets to keep the trophy for a year.
First and goal at the 4. Dion Hill eludes 2 or 3 tacklers, and he's going to score. Touchdown.
Greg, that is classic Dion Hill. Panthers get back there, have him in the backfield, and Dion just keeps those legs churning and gets the touchdown.
He was wrapped up 2 or 3 times, it appeared, Joe.
Well, how many times have we seen him do that? He is truly something special. Now, this is a big extra point, Greg.
John Fitzgerald with a hold of Earl Robinson with 5:26 left to play. Good snap, good hold. It's good. Paris 22, North Lamar 19. Wildcats tonight have 185 yards total offense, all on the ground.
Well, Greg, I've got a good friend of mine that I coach baseball with named Larry Goodman, and he says there's a positive in everything, and North Lamar's looking for a positive right now. That positive would be that they've got 5 minutes and 26 seconds left in this game to score.
A lot of time left.
They don't have to do anything special. They don't have to break out of their game plan in any way whatsoever. They can run their regular offense, which has been a heavy dose of Lewis Tyson, and still have plenty of time to score in this game. The main thing they've got to do, they've got to protect the football.
Here's a replay of Dion's touchdown. And look at the tacklers that he avoids and pulls out of. Just a great effort by
John
number
Denmon
22.
Came in, grabbed it some air. That's all he could do.
12 plays covering 75 yards. Took 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Panthers
Dion
are asking their fans.
On a 4-yard touchdown run. Dion in this game, 16 carries, 80 yards. His counterpart, or his partner in the backfield, Thomas Battle, 11 carries, 63 yards.
Thomas has played well at fullback tonight. Dalen has played well at fullback. Paris is offsides on the kickoff again.
Larry Goodman.
Well, Greg, the Paris special teams has been confusion and offsides all night. I believe if I was North Lamar, I'd decline this. They've got fairly good field position, and they will decline the penalty.
Joe, it doesn't appear that many seats in this stadium are occupied at the moment. Almost everyone is on their feet.
Well, people have got their money's worth in this game. This has been a great football game. We've said it before, Friday night high school football in Texas, there's no better buy for your buck.
Tyrone Fulbright, number 10.
Now, Paris defense did a good job there. They need to be very careful in their aggressiveness that it doesn't carry over into something that happens after the whistle.
2 penalties apiece for these teams.
It's been a very clean played game.
Paris with 20 penalty yards assessed. North Lamar with 10. And it's 2nd down 7. Lewis Tyson stood up. Ball gets on the ground. No, I'm sorry. He had control.
Okay, we have said it before, Greg. Paris needs to watch the tight end.
It's been there all night, hasn't it, Joe?
It has. And John Denmon checks into the game for the Panthers.
Third and 5.
Crawford is wide left.
Moffitt wants to throw. Tipped at the line of scrimmage.
I believe that was Josh Embry, I'm not sure, who got a hand up. Now, Greg, what do you do if you're Coach Tommy Felty for the Panthers? They've already used a timeout.
3:52 left to play in the game. North Lamar,
Coach Felty,
7 for 10 tonight in the passing department for 101 yards. At that time, it went incomplete.
Watch the tight
4th
end.
and 5. Tipped again.
Pass is incomplete.
Good coverage by number 24, Elvin Weekly. Ball goes over on downs to the Paris Wildcats.
Well, Greg, Coach Felty needs to be out there telling his guys, we've got time still. This game is not over. Coach Rainey has to be over there saying, give us a couple of first downs and we can get out of here with our neck still on.
Hear a little noise from the visiting side of the field. Wildcat fans finally have something to cheer about.
Paris does not have a fullback on the field. 10 men once again, Greg.
Dion. Good yardage. Calling for a block. Gets across the 20. Chase Allen finally brings him down, but Dion did that without a fullback.
Dalen Bunch checks in. We've said that the Paris running game depends on a good block by the fullback. Well, Dion kind of did that on himself. He's truly something special. But I don't understand, Greg. That's at least the 5th time that we've seen Paris line up tonight with 10 men on the field.
Dalen Bunch back there with Dion this time. Dalen takes the ball. Up the middle. Mark Davis makes the tackle.
Now keep in mind, Greg, the score is 22-19 in favor of Paris. If North Lamar can get the ball back, they only need a field goal to win this game. Have an official timeout on the field.
Joe, that'll give me a chance to mention the sponsors for tonight's FBC-TV Game of the Week. They include First Baptist Church, Lamar County Cellular, Computer Supercenter, Bill Kennedy Fine Furniture, and AAA Rentals. And what a game it's been.
One of the luxuries that Paris has here at Aromatic Stadium, there is a play clock in the end zone, and Paris needs to let that thing tick down. Now they're going to have to call timeout. Paris has just sat there and once again unorganization on the Wildcats' part. Confusion. One of the things the Wildcats need to do, they need to milk that play clock every time they come to the line of scrimmage. They need to stay in bounds when they run the plays to the sidelines.
Dion knocking on the 100-yard barrier now, 17 carries, 99 yards. Dale and Rick doing a good job tonight getting us those stats. Clock now at 2 minutes, 50 seconds left to play.
When we resume play, Paris will be looking at a 2nd down and 5 on the North Lamar 12-yard line.
Second and 5, ball on the 12-yard line. Dion Hill. He might have that 100 yards now.
Once again, Dion has an offensive lineman in his way.
He's going to get credit for a yard, and that gets him to 20 carries, 100 yards.
Clock is down to 2:23. Paris is facing a 3rd down and 4. Score is 22-19 in favor of the Paris Wildcats.
Play clock at 10.
Chris does a good job of letting that clock tick down.
Chris takes it himself.
He's got a blocker in front of him. And he gets the 1st down and does not score. Really, that's good for Paris. He's got the 1st down. That's going to let the clock run quite a bit more.
And Chris playing in a stadium tonight that has the luxury of a play clock for him to use and to look at to milk that time.
That's right. They don't have that at Noyes Stadium. And now the clock starts again at 1:55. Paris ideally would probably like to score on about 3rd down here if they could.
Right.
But if they get the touchdown, the extra point, that pretty well puts the final nail in the coffin.
1st and goal at the 3. Tim Jones in at fullback.
John Denmon does a good job of shooting the gap and bringing Dion down on a shoestring tackle and quickly calls timeout.
With 1:29.
North Lamar finds themselves kind of in the situation that Green Bay did last year. They need the ball back, and probably the quickest way they can get the ball back right now is to let them score. But if they score, it's over.
Yeah.
Paris needs to be sure and cover up the ball. A turnover is the last thing they need. And I'm sure North Lamar right now will be going for a strip. Greg, I tell you, during this timeout, let's take some time out to really throw some praise at the North Lamar Panthers. They have come out here and played their guts out, and I don't know how this is going to end. It doesn't look too good for them right now.
Everybody in town was telling them all week that they didn't have a chance.
Nobody gave them a chance. And I'll be honest, I didn't think they'd win the game. I thought it was going to be closer than a lot of people did. I knew that they were not Brownsboro or W.T. White. But they have played their guts out. Hats off to them and their coaching staff and their fans. They've done a great job.
Coaches and the fans both believed in them. Dion Hill wants another score.
Dion needs
Run
to
out of
stay in
bounds.
bounds.
Stops the clock for North Lamar.
Dion did North Lamar a huge favor there and going out of bounds and stopping the clock with 1:24 left.
Andy Fuller there to help him.
He's out of bounds on the 3. That's a lot of help for the Panthers.
Minute 24.
Greg, Wildcats don't make it here. What do you do? Cross that bridge when you get to it. Chris Smith falls. Somebody steps on Chris's foot and he falls down. Now the clock is running. I would expect Paris here, Greg, to let the clock run down. North Lamar calls timeout to stop the clock.
With 1:16 left, Derek Jackson, the center, and Chris kind of get their feet tangled.
Now, keep in mind with 4th down.
That's North Lamar's last time out,
Keep in mind now, this is to North Lamar's advantage. If Paris does not convert here, clock will stop on the change of possession. So North Lamar has a chance to get the ball back with about 1:10 if Paris does not score. And it is 4th and 6.
94 yards.
So that's 6 yards is not easy to make. North Lamar defense has played very well here.
Fighting to the end, to their credit.
Now, let's go over the situation. North Lamar trails by 2 points. Paris has the ball on 3 points. It's 3 points, excuse me. North Lamar is facing Paris with a 4th down and 6. A field goal here makes it a 6-point game. Forces North Lamar to score a touchdown. If they miss this, North Lamar can come down and kick a field goal and force overtime. Paris will go for it.
Thomas Battle with Dion Hill. This is Thomas Battle. He scores. Touchdown, Paris.
Well, that pretty well does it. And Wildcats,
what a game by North Lamar.
Wildcats couldn't have drawn it up any better. They score on 4th down. They might have. Wildcats might not have gone out of bounds on that 1 second down play.
Dustin Bone was shown there on the sideline.
Kick is blocked. It can be returned.
Earl Robinson finally dragged down by number 10, Tyrone Fulbright.
Well, once again, take your hats off to these Panthers. They have not quit. There's no quit in them. Well, Greg, I'm sure that Coach Rainey and his coaching staff are going to be very much happy to get out of R.L. Maddox Stadium with a win tonight. And, you know, we're heaping praise on North Lamar. They've played tremendous. Let's give Coach Rainey and his staff some credit. They went into halftime with a flat team, and they came out and made the necessary adjustments, both mentally and physically, at halftime. And the Wildcats have come out and played pretty good football here in the second half.
That final Paris High drive covered 9 plays, 37 yards. Thomas Battle with a 6-yard touchdown run on 4th down. The point after attempt was blocked, giving Paris a 9-point lead.
I'm sure
but
that
looking at halftime, it was it was very doubtful that Paris would have a lead at the end of the game.
Well, and the Sulphur Springs coaching staff is here scouting North Lamar for next week, and I'm sure there won't be any overconfidence on the part of the Sulphur Springs Wildcats after they've seen the effort that North Lamar's given tonight.
Paris will close out offense with 42 carries, 225 yards rushing, 0 for 3 in the passing department. And Joe, that's something that they're going to have to get opened back up when they face the other district competitors.
Well, I'm just surprised that they haven't tried it more. Now, Paris needs to watch for a flea flicker and basically the kitchen sink here, because North Lamar's liable to throw anything at them here.
Chase Allen takes this kickoff. North Lamar needs 9 points in the minute 8. North Lamar 40 carries in this game for 124 yards, 8 for 12 in the passing department for 101 yards for 225 yards total offense. That, when you talk about the passing game there, that tight end play was there all night
long, and I'm sure Paris is going to see that from Texas High next week.
Scott Moffitt wants to throw, is sacked.
Easton.
Jeff Easton.
Clock is running.
Under a minute now.
I'd like to remind you we will be off next week. North Lamar Panthers will be in Sulphur Springs facing the Sulphur Springs Wildcats. Paris Wildcats will be in Texarkana facing the Texas High Tigers. Join us back here in 2 weeks as we will be at Noyes Stadium, game between the Mount Pleasant Tigers and the Paris Wildcats. Clock is down to 34 seconds. North Lamar is 89 yards away from the end zone.
Incomplete is Moffitt's pass to Larry Goodman.
Josh Embry leveled Scott Moffitt that time.
Thomas Battle and Earl Robson playing very deep, about 20 yards off the ball.
John Denmon checks in. Play clock is down to 13. Now we have seen North Lamar run the hook and ladder earlier this year. If they're going to run it, this will probably be it.
Moffitt in trouble. He's sacked again.
And
flag.
We have a flag on the play, which will stop the clock with 20 seconds left. Paris will come out of this game with a record of 4-2 on the season, 1-0 in district play. North Lamar's record will drop to 1-5, 0-1 in district. Seen several of North Lamar's undergraduate teams play this week. Saw their freshmen, saw their JV play. They've got a lot of talent coming up, Greg. Future looks bright here at North Lamar.
4th and 22. Moffitt complete.
Matt Wolf fails to get out of bounds. Clock is down to 4 seconds. They will
stop. That'll stop the clock with the change of possession with 3 seconds left.
Great game, 3 seconds left. Great game here by both teams. Got our money's worth tonight.
Very, very good play.
I'd like to thank all of our volunteers.
Chris Smith will come up to the line of scrimmage and take a knee for the last play of the game.
And the clock ticks down to 0. Series record now goes to 12 wins for the Paris Wildcats to 1 for the Panthers.
See the teams converging on the field to shake hands and congratulate each other. The Wildcats should congratulate the Panthers on a very well played game. They didn't come in here with very much respect for the Panthers, but they come away with a lot more.
You know, Greg, as we said earlier, you know, this is a pretty heated rivalry, but I think it's more so on the parents and adults side than it is on the kids. These kids get along just fine with each other. They play ball year-round with each other. They go to church together. I know a lot of people have best friends going to each school, so it's quite a tribute to the kids involved.
Well, that'll do it from R.L. Maddox Stadium. For Joe Eigelhart, our statisticians Dale Roughton and Ricky Mackey, this is Greg Cunningham saying good night. Stay tuned for more quality programming right here on FBC-TV Channel 16.